Carinthia, Austria's southernmost region that borders both Italy and Slovenia. The sunny heart of Europe, with more than 1,000 lakes, plus spectacular Alpine regions. And also numerous Celtic Roman excavation sites, medieval castles, monasteries and cathedrals. A region full of history and tradition. In the eastern part of Carinthia, and more than 1,000 meters above sea level, is one of the region's oldest villages, the mountain village of Diex. In the 15th century, the Turks invaded this area with great savagery. So, as protection, local farmers built castellated churches in which they sought sanctuary. Subsequently, a new Baroque church was built and a number of its medieval furnishings have survived, such as the poor box, baptismal font and an image of the Virgin Mary. In 1091, Benedictine monks from southern Germany founded one of Carinthia's spiritual centres, the impressive St. Paul Monastery. At one time, an Illyric fortress stood on this site, later a Roman citadel. Following the construction of the church, the complex was presented to the monks so they could establish a monastery here. Stift St. Paul is famous for its large art collections. Thus, the monastery was known as Carinthia's treasure trove. Friesach, a city of castles. In the 12th century, when Klagenfurt had only just been founded, the town had a wall that also surrounded 8 fine churches, each with its own splendid tower. Carinthia's oldest city, Friesach, has retained what must be the true ambience of the Middle Ages. The ecclesiastical town fathers of Friesach were ingenious builders and great supporters of the arts. Thus, this medieval gem originated along with all of its imposing sacred rarities. In a remote valley close to Friesach is a small village that possesses a much revered sacred building, Gurk Cathedral. As with so many other women of her time, the Countess Hemma of Gurk lost both her husband and her son during the political troubles of the Middle Ages. So she became known as the Mother of Carinthia. The Countess was later canonized by the Catholic Church, and Pope John Paul II led a pilgrimage to her grave in 1988. A 150-meter-high limestone rock stands out from the landscape. This site was inhabited during the Bronze Age, and in 1200 AD, the existence of a castle was recorded here, Castel Hochostewitz. To gain entry to Austria's most famous knight's castle, 14 gates must first be entered. A replica of this castle featured in the famous Walt Disney film Cinderella. Five kilometers north of Klagenfurt is an ancient building high above the Zollfeld. This is the location of the impressive castellated church of Maria Saal. With the onset of Christianity in the 8th century, the first church was founded here. The Maria Saal Open Air Museum is situated in the heart of Carinthia. In this richly cultural and historic area, various representative farm buildings from all over Carinthia have been reconstructed. Carinthia's superb valleys provide visitors with a vivid impression of the daily life of this region. There are also various handicraft shops and grocery stores. Not far from Saal is the largest archaeological excavation site in Austria, the Magdalensberg. This was once the site of the Celtic Roman main town of the Noricum district. The inhabitants of this terraced town gained fame and fortune mainly from the highly prized Noric iron. The ore was mined in this locality. Later, the local inhabitants vacated the mountain. They settled within the valley and founded Virinum. The mountain town thus fell into oblivion. A small museum features a number of well-preserved finds. Around 500 years ago, a farmer discovered something while ploughing in the southern slope of the mountain. It was the Jüngling von Magdalensberg, a naked metal figure. South of Klagenfurt is a breathtaking and wildly romantic natural monument, the Schlucht. A pathway leads for more than a kilometre through a narrow canyon. The primeval power of these plunging water masses has influenced the landscape here for millions of years. The route leads across narrow paths and wooden ladders to a circular tower, and also a suspension bridge that spans the dramatic Chauko waterfall. Klagenfurt is the administrative centre of Carinthia, a middle-class garden city that does not contain the fine buildings of the aristocracy. However, this charming old town has a good helping of southern flair, and the nearby Wörthersee creates a magnificent atmosphere of summer here each year. Following a devastating fire, Emperor Maximilian I handed the city over to its inhabitants. It was rebuilt by Italian master builders who gave it a totally new lease of life. In this country house, the Wappensaal features 665 heraldic figures of numerous local trades and professions. Of architectural interest are several inner courtyards and arcades. Fortunately, they have recently been renovated and are now open to the public. Carinthia's real heart beats within the region around Klagenfurt that is surrounded by high mountain ranges. This is the Wörthersee, Austria's southernmost lakeland district, and one of the warmest lakes in Europe. An observation tower, the Pyramidenkugel, provides a unique omnidirectional view across the lake and to the Mariawort Peninsula. A good way to explore the lake is by way of a circular tour by boat. There are wonderful views of various lakeside villages, and the boat also provides some welcome refreshments. Eventually, we come to Felden and the furthermost shore of the Wörthersee. The elegant lakeside casino doesn't only attract the wealthy. When night falls, peace returns to the lake, and its many swans enjoy the final light of the gradually setting sun. On the southern shoreline of the Ossiacher Sea is the Stift Ossiach, a Benedictine monastery that was built in 1028 and is probably the oldest in Austria. For nearly 200 years, it was virtually derelict until the Carinthische Sommer breathed new life into the walls of the monastery. Thus, one of Austria's most famous cultural events was born. On the northern shores of the Wörthersee, a winding mountain road and modern cable car travel up the 2,000-meter-high Gerlitzen. In winter, a modern ski resort, and in summer, popular with walkers. Paragliders take advantage of the region's favorable winds and from here set off into the valley below, an exhilarating adventure. Berg Landskron is situated at the western end of the Wörthersee. The castle has a popular attraction. Monkey Mountain, a herd of Japanese macaques, has found a new home within this natural environment. The Wörthersee Bird Park is an oasis of bird life from each corner of the world. It contains a unique collection of parakeets, parrots, short-tailed parrots, cockatoos and lories, as well as numerous birds of prey. Villach, gateway to the south, located on the banks of the river Dra. This, the second largest city in Carinthia, is full of busy traffic making its way to nearby Italy. In 1348, the church collapsed during Sunday Mass due to a mighty earthquake. 500 people were buried beneath its ruins. Its timber buildings were engulfed by fire, and the city was destroyed. But its reconstruction brought about its economic and cultural high season, and in 1759, Empress Maria Theresia, anxious to obtain the city for Austria, purchased it from the Bambergers. Between the Carnischen Alps and the Linzer Dolomites, the river Gail has created a deep canyon, the Lezachtal, a picturesque valley that is also known as the Valley of 100 Mills. The main village of the Lezachtal region is the Maria Lugar Pilgrimage Center that is dominated by the Baroque Maria Schnee Church and the adjoining Serviten Monastery. The Lugar watermills were named after their original owners. These protected buildings date back to 1750, and they're still in use today. Surrounded by high mountains and cut off from Carinthia and the eastern Tyrol, the Lezachtal is sparsely populated and far from the tourist trail. An isolated and unknown paradise, set amid captivating and untouched mountain scenery. A fascinating landscape opens up, crowned by rocks and ice. The green of the mountain pastures gives way to the grey and white of pebbles and rocks. The Weißensee is situated at a height of 930 meters within a high valley of the Gailtaler Alps. Due to its long shape, the fourth largest bathing lake in Carinthia is similar to a Nordic fjord. The natural shores of the lake are of a somewhat light appearance, which is why it was named the Weißensee, the White Lake. Close to the shoreline, subterranean limestone sediment glows through the water. Amid the Nockbergen is the Millstätter See. In 1469, the Order of the Knights of St. George chose Millstatt as the centre for a rebellion against the invading Turks. Later followed the Jesuits. Due to their high demands on the local population, they caused a rebellion among the local farming community. But the monastery survived, with idyllic courtyards, romantic cloister, a 1,000-year-old oak tree, well-preserved frescoes and a church. The church is beautiful. Here, Romantic and Gothic elements unite with Baroque design to form a magnificent whole, a place of serene contemplation. One of the most individual and finest landscapes in Carinthia is situated northeast of the Millstätter See. The Nockberge, that was designated as a national park in 1987, along with the splendid Nockalm. The magic of this landscape is reminiscent of ancient legends that tell of Walpurgisnacht. It was said that dancing witches and wizards once met here with a courageous treasure hunter who attempted to discover the secret hiding place of a vast treasure buried within the mountains. However, the treasure still remains undiscovered. Due to its many waterfalls, the Maltertal in the Hohe Tauern is also known as the Valley of the Plunging Waters. This is another world. Our next destination is the highest river dam in Austria, the Kölnbrein Dam. 200 meters high and 600 meters wide, it contains 200 million square meters of water, whose power activates the turbines of Austria's largest power station. The people of Carinthia realized long ago that water power is one of the main sources of energy that also has the advantage of being environmentally friendly. From the Möhltal, a cable car travels into infinity, an adventurous journey into the mountain world of Friesach. At a height of 2,000 meters, we transfer to a narrow-gauge railway that travels along at a comfortable 30 kilometers per hour. From here, there are various pathways that seem to lead to the heavens, to a rock-strewn mountain world, to the Friesach reservoirs and fantastic views. A celebration of both earth and sky. But beware. In the mountains, the weather can change with little or no warning, and sunshine can be followed by a sudden thunderstorm. These mountain lakes collect the rain and melting water from the surrounding mountains. From Malnitz, a cable car travels up into the spectacular high mountains of the Ankogel. The breathtaking route travels to a height of 2,636 meters amid the natural landscape of the Hohe Tauern. From here, there's a sensational view over 3,000-meter high mountains. And when the weather is good, it's possible to see as far as the eastern and southern Tyrol, plus the nearby region of Salzburg. It took millions of years for the Alps to take on their appearance of today. They were formed during the last ice age. Slowly flowing glaciers moved from west to east and piled up huge moraines that stand today as mountains located between the riverbed of the Drau and the lakeland areas. Close to Villach in the Moat is a unique place. For thousands of years, a small river created one of the most beautiful sights in the Alps, the Raga Canyon. Here, the natural power of water cut its way through the stony mountainscape. An impressive demonstration of the incredible power of nature. Across breathtaking passes and bridges, between steep rock walls, higher and higher. And now the sound of raging water fills the narrow canyon. A journey to this, the only accessible glacier in Carinthia, is well worth a visit in both summer and winter. A unique adventure set amid 30 3,000-meter high mountain peaks to the Wörthersee Glacier. An amazing mountain landscape with shining glacial lakes and eternal fields of snow and ice, and with a fascinating flora that is adapted perfectly to the local climate. Friesach is famous for its mills. On these steep mountain slopes, one mill was built upon another in order that they could each utilize the water power from a single source. Here, farm buildings and tiny villages are not situated at the bottom of the valley, but instead cling to the upper, sunnier slopes. The sight of this famous mountain village at the foot of the Grossglockner is truly captivating. Heiligenblut. This charming mountain village has a long history. In the crypt of this Gothic church is the tomb of the Byzantine general Diex, who is said to have brought here a small bottle that contained the blood of Christ. In the nearby Saal, there was once a gold prospector's village, for it was in this area that the famous Tauern gold was first discovered. From Heiligenblut, a mountain road leads up the Franz Josefshöhe and to a spectacular view across the Wörthersee, the longest glacier in the Eastern Alps beneath the Grossglockner, that at a height of 3,798 meters above sea level is the highest mountain in Austria. But the dramatic warming of the atmosphere in recent years has also managed to affect the Wörthersee. It is now melting at an unprecedented rate. The Grossglockner High Alps road travels through one of the greatest natural landscapes in the world, the Hohe Tauern National Park. A remarkable mountain world in which nature is at its most glorious. This is the most famous road through the Alps. It crosses each of the climatic and vegetation zones of both Austria and the Arctic, with meadows, forests, mountain pastures, rock and ice. Once the Celts travelled across this mountain summit, followed by the Romans and later the Saal. On the Brennkogelkar, a plaque commemorates a group of pilgrims who perished on the ice here. This idyllic picture of unspoiled nature hides the fact that Carinthia's border is nearby. This land of mountains, castles and lakes possesses natural beauty, exciting adventures and southern flair. A treasure trove of history gradually being discovered by those from far and wide. Carinthia, a paradise of sun and ice, of nature, history and culture.